Why are we so afraid of goodbyes? We treat an ending like it is a cliff. We think that when a relationship ends, or a job is lost, or a chapter closes, we fall into nothingness. We mourn the sunset as if the sun has died. But look at nature. Does the tree mourn the falling leaf? Does the caterpillar mourn the loss of its legs? What if the thing you call the end is actually the necessary space for a new beginning? This was the darkness that surrounded a man named Leo. He had lost everything. His life's work, a business he had poured his soul into for decades, had crumbled into nothing. His home, filled with memories, was gone, sold to cover the debts. Now he was left with just the clothes on his back and a profound hollow ache in his chest. He sat on a cold stone bench in a forgotten corner of a city park. It was the dead of winter. The trees were skeletal, their bare branches reaching like desperate fingers toward a flat gray sky. The ground was frozen solid, dusted with a thin layer of old snow. In his hand, he held a small amount of asha remnant from his final symbolic bonfire of business plans and old photographs. He believed his life was finished, he said to himself, his voice a dry whisper lost in the cold air. The book is closed. There are no pages left. He was paralyzed by the sheer finality of his loss. He felt like a statue, frozen in a single moment of grief. As Leo sat there, stewing in his own despair, a movement caught his eye. Not far away, in a desolate patch of frozen earth that passed for a garden, an old woman was working. She was bundled in layers of colorful, mismatched wool, her face weathered and kind, framed by wisps of white hair escaping her hat. She was methodically digging small holes in the hard, snowy ground with a hand trowel. She would then take something small from a cloth bag at her side, place it in the hole, and cover it back up, patting the cold earth with a gentle finality. Leo watched her for a long time, his initial curiosity souring into a kind of grim pity. He thought she must be mad. What could possibly grow here now? The world was frozen. Everything was dead. Eventually, the silence and his own misery became too much to bear. He needed to understand this act of pointless hope. He pushed himself up from the bench, his joints stiff with cold and inactivity, and shuffled over to where the woman was working. His shadow fell over her, but she didn't seem startled. She simply looked up, her eyes clear and bright. "Why are you digging?" Leo asked, his voice rough. "Everything is dead. Winter has killed the world." The woman, Grandmother Aura, as she was known to the few who visited this park, offered him a small, patient smile. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached into her bag and pulled out a single, dry, brown seed. It was wrinkled and lifeless. She held it up between her thumb and forefinger, right in front of his eyes. "It looks dead, doesn't it?" she asked, her voice soft but clear, like the chime of a small bell. Leo stared at the pathetic little object. It was the perfect symbol for how he felt. He gave a short, bitter nod. "It is a corpse," he said flatly, "just like my hope." Aura slowly shook her head, her smile never wavering. "No, Leo, it is not a corpse. It is a package, a promise wrapped in a plain brown coat." She rolled the seed in her palm. "Inside this hard, dead-looking shell is a sleeping forest, a whole future of green leaves and strong branches and shade for weary travelers. But for that forest to be born, the seed must break. It must come to an end. It must be buried in the darkness, and it must crack open, its old self has to be completely destroyed for its new self to emerge. She gently placed the seed into the cold hole she had just dug. Leo watched, silent. He felt a flicker of something, a tiny spark of resistance to his own certainty. Aura continued, her voice growing a little stronger as she covered the seed with frozen soil. "You are crying because the sun has set," she said, looking directly at him now. Her gaze was not one of pity, but of profound understanding. "You are standing in the dark, screaming at the night. You believe the light is gone forever. But the sun has not died, Leo. It has simply gone to wake up the other side of the world. Darkness is not an end. Darkness is the womb where the morning grows. You cannot have the sunrise without the night. You cannot have the spring without the winter. Your life is not over. It is simply resting. It is gathering strength in the dark, just like this seed." The words struck Leo with the force of a physical blow, a bolt of lightning. He looked down at the patch of frozen ground where she had just buried the seed, in the dark earth. He thought of the ashes he had been holding, the ruins of his life. He suddenly saw it all with a clarity that made his breath catch in his throat. His ruin was not a graveyard, it was soil, rich, dark, fertile soil, made from the compost of his past. The intense pain he felt, the feeling of being torn apart, wasn't the agony of death. It was the cracking of the shell. It was the breaking open that was necessary for new life to begin. He looked up from the ground, past Aura, to the bleak horizon. He realized he hadn't reached a cliff at all. He had just reached a turn in the road. And for the first time in what felt like an eternity, the fear of the end evaporated. It was replaced by a quiet, trembling curiosity for what might grow next. Time passes. The gray sky slowly gives way to a brilliant, hopeful blue. The snow melts, feeding the thirsty ground, and in the forgotten park, the garden is transformed. Green shoots, vibrant and determined, are pushing up through the soil where the dead seeds were buried. Leo is no longer sitting on the bench. He is on his knees in the dirt, working alongside Aura. His face is no longer a mask of grief, but is etched with purpose. He stands up, stretching his back. He wipes a bead of sweat from his forehead with the back of a soil-stained hand. He looks at the tiny green miracles all around him, then smiles at the wide open horizon. He is starting over. He is dirty, he is tired, and he has never felt more alive. He finally understands. Every ending, every loss, every single goodbye is just an exit, and every exit is an entry somewhere else. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more reflections on life's journey. Your story is not over. It's just beginning.